Welcome to Chai with Ping. This is Ping Robert. In this podcast, I cover immigrant stories, cross-cultural experiences, and minority issues. Join me with a cup of chai and take a listen. Here. Hello, 1, 2, 3, and then we can come back.
Hi.
Okay, and then this is our outline. You ready? Welcome back to Chai with Ping. This is Ping.
Hi, this is Louis.
This is episode number 70. And before we start, we're going to talk about our marriage and then some of the lessons that we learned from our cross-cultural marriage. And then, before that, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel, Chai with Ping, on whatever you listen to your podcast to. And also, I'm available on YouTube recently. I started that account. And then I'm also on Facebook or Instagram. So feel free to shoot me a message and give me your feedback or ask more questions. So, Louis, where shall we begin?
Let's start with your questions.
That's right. Well, just a little background for the listeners. So, my name is Ping, and then I'm from Taiwan, and Louis is from?
Louis is from India.
Yes, and we have been married for 6 years now, actually today.
Today is our 6th anniversary. We are up in the mountains here in Breckenridge, Colorado.
Yeah, and then we just thought about recording one episode about a recap of our cross-cultural marriage to share some lessons that we have learned in the past few years. So, Louis, how did we start dating? How was that phase for you?
So, I was living in Delhi and for around 6-7 years. And Ping just moved to India at that point of time, and we were going to this church, same church. That's where we met for the first time and started dating. We talked a little bit more about this in our previous episode, episode number 50.
Yes.
If you want to know more, you can tune into that one.
That's right.
And yeah, I guess it was love at first sight. And then we thought about dating. We initially thought that we should just meet as friends for some time and then get to know each other a little bit before we jump into dating or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went on a trip with some friends, some really good friends of ours, to Jaipur.
Yeah.
And during that trip, we felt comfortable of that, we're there, that we should be dating each other.
And before we actually decide to date, I was very intentional asking about different deeper questions and all that. And so we were distance, right? I was in Taiwan and you were in India during that winter break. So about a month we chatted on Facebook, and then I asked intentional questions about your values, your family, your background, your history, and your passion and all that, or future plans. So I think it's very easy to find those questions before dating someone, that we can always get to know each other, especially it's a long distance relationship. So we were doing that, and then we asked enough questions, and I thought, in 2013, maybe there's that many questions, but then when do we actually take that first step into dating? So in 2016 we started dating.
I remember that part, that when we just met each other before dating, we went back to Taiwan for your vacation, and I went back to my hometown, Dehradun.
Yeah.
And then it was almost a month time of your vacation, and that's when we started knowing each other more online.
Yeah.
Thanks to the messenger. We use Facebook Messenger to chat a lot. I definitely was not prepared what to ask. So Ping did some research, what we should know about each other before we get into dating. So she had a whole list of great questions to understand me better. And I was just asking the same questions back to her. She would ask me a question and answer that, and then I would say, what about you? What do you do in this case? What do you like in this scenario? So I didn't have to do much research on that part, but I think that was really helpful. Those questioning rounds really helped us to understand a little bit more about each other before we thought more about dating each other.
Yeah, and I think what is unique is about we didn't have any intimate relationship before each other. So then I remember at that night that we were chatting online and I was like, hey, so have you ever had any other girlfriends and who are they? How are they like? And then you're like, what did you say?
Yeah, I was like, you might sound weird, but I haven't had any girlfriend before. It's not like I didn't try. The girls I liked didn't like me enough. And the ones like me, I was not into them.
Yeah.
So apparently I didn't have any girlfriend before.
Were you feeling like awkward?
I wasn't feeling
Answering.
awkward, but it was just a strange truth about my relationship history.
Yeah.
But what was even more strange is that when you said, really, it's been the same like me with me that you never had a boyfriend.
I never had a boyfriend. And then I was like, ooh. So there was actually like a literal like rush in my body. I was like, oh, that like this person didn't have any relationships. And I was 27. Like I think you were like 26 and a half or something.
Yeah.
So then it's like, it is. In our culture, it's still pretty late not to have a partner or a girlfriend, boyfriend. So I was like, ooh, okay. I don't find it strange because like I'm exactly like you. So I think that was a place of special piece into our relationship. Yeah. Yeah. And then fast forward after dating for 1 year. Right, and then you went to Taiwan for a trip?
Yeah, after that 1 year of dating, I decided I want to know more of your culture, see your folks, see your people, and then, so went on a trip, a 10-day trip.
Yeah.
And see different places in Taiwan. So thank you for letting me visit your friends and introduce me to your family, your church friends, and your family was really kind to take me around. I mean, I didn't stay at your place. I lived nearby in a hostel.
Yeah.
But your dad was so kind to take out time, and the entire family took me to a couple of places in Kaohsiung. And then later we both went on trip to different cities in Taiwan. That was really good experience for me because that was my first international trip. To be honest, yeah.
Yeah. And then in 2015, there was something major happening. Where did you go? You went to Taiwan to study.
Oh, yeah. Like after that trip, and then when I came back to India and we were still dating, and I guess I thought of doing masters. Because after my bachelor's, I didn't do master's. I went straight into work, and I was working. It was around 7 years, and I thought I'd do master's, but like maybe online or something. But when I thought maybe I should live in Taiwan for a couple of years, I thought doing master's would be the best way to live in a foreign country without much visa issues.
Yeah.
Because getting work in Taiwan is not that easy because of the language. So I got into MBA in National Tsinghua University.
Yeah.
In Taiwan in Hsinchu.
If my dad didn't encourage you to explore different options, would you have?
Huh? Your dad? What? Did he encourage me? Really?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah, I think, so Ping's dad did kind of encouraged me during my first trip that would you like to explore some of the other countries and before you think more about the relationship. And I was like, that's a fair point. Maybe this could be a good way to have international exposure. So I found the international MBA course.
Wait, but before we land on that option, actually my colleague who is from Japan, Josuke, Professor Josuke, thank you so much for bringing this idea. He was like, so we talk about like, I don't think Louis can actually work in Taiwan because like there's no language and also no, like you're in the finance area. So I don't think it was easy for you to find a job over there. And so Josuke just kind of told me, he's like, in your Taiwan center, you always promote for Indian students to go to Taiwan and study. And, they have scholarship. Why don't you refer Louis to do the same? So I was like, ooh, that's a new idea. And then so you applied.
Yeah. Fortunately, unfortunately, I did not get that scholarship for the first year at all. So I had to pay for the whole entire education. Thanks to my dad. I took some money from him and used up all my saving almost. And for the first year, and then the second year, I did qualify for the scholarship. So I got partial scholarship, I guess, or full. I don't remember anymore. But I did get scholarship the second year based on performance, I guess.
Yeah. And then first year that you went to Taiwan for the first semester, in between that December of 2015, we decided to get married. And how was that look like for you?
I guess initially when I went to Taiwan to study, so the plan was like to study there for 2 years. And maybe after I graduate, we can think about getting married and everything. But once I was there in Taiwan and studying, and after my first semester there, I was doing a lot of thinking. And considering our age, we were like all approaching 28.
Yeah.
And then also the time in education, plus our future plans, because you wanted to do PhD.
That's right.
So I felt that if we wait 2 years for
you to finish
masters, and after that 2 years, I will be looking for a job.
Yes.
And then if you want to do PhD at the same time, and then we add getting married at the same time, that'll be a lot of complex things going on at the same point of time in life. So I kind of first convinced myself that it's better to get married first, and then when I get the graduation done, then that's when I can start searching for the job. Once I have that, then Pink can do her PhD. So it'll be like we'll tackle these things one by one. Because initially I was not in this. I was not really convinced that. While I'm a student, I should get married because I was not technically had no source of income. But then I guess we realized that we could still survive on savings or whatever. And you were very supportive. You said that because I asked you the question, would you like to get married to a student? And you said that it's just phase of life, that maybe right now I'm working, you're studying, maybe in the future you will be working, I'll be studying. So that gave me comfort. And then I had to let go my pride a little bit that, okay, I can get married without having a proper job and source of income. And I think that was one of the best decisions we took, because of that, we did not have to handle all the things at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the transition was not particularly easier. So I was in India from 2013 to 16, and then you were there from 15 to almost 17. So then it's like when we got married in between, you were in Taiwan and I was in India, and then we came from the winter break, and then we met in Delhi and got married. But then both of us, we went back to our own place. Like I was in India, you went back to Hsinchu, and after 6 months that we met in Taiwan in Hsinchu, and then we started living together. So you finished your second year of master's, and I was working as a English teacher in an elementary school. So that transition was hard, more for me, because I all of a sudden changed everything. When I moved to Hsinchu, I've never lived there. Even I'm Taiwanese, but I've never lived there. I don't know many people in Hsinchu. I changed the job. I moved from country to another country. I changed my whole career trajectory because English teaching is different than Mandarin, and then I was teaching kids, so it's very different from college students. And then living together with a husband, newlywed. So that was very hard. Yeah,
I'll take a step back on that. And that was challenging that we got married, and after getting married, I was living in your country in Taiwan, and you were living in my country in India. And why we had to do that is because your program in India needed you to work there as a director for another 6 months.
Yeah, to finish an academic year.
Yes,
Yeah.
and, which made sense. So, and I thought that I could take a break for 1 semester from my studies, live in India with you, and then we can go back to Taiwan.
Together.
I asked my program, but they did not allow me to take a break. They said that it's not possible technically based on the courses that are offered. And so I had no choice to, I had to study. So I had to go back to Taiwan and take all my courses in that semester.
Yeah.
So that kept us long distance, even the first 6 months of our getting married. So that was one of the challenges I would say, we faced. And
I didn't feel that much differences after we got married, even if we were long distance. So in total, we were long distance for a whole year. So the wedding was just there, and then sure, we changed our rules, but then it doesn't really feel that much different from dating. Yeah, and then moving back to Hsinchu, what was the most challenging thing that you first faced during the first year of our marriage?
The question. Well, I guess I think we might have faced some of those challenges irrespective of where we lived, in Hsinchu or anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I would say those challenges were
just first year of marriage.
Of a cross-culture marriage.
And
on top
living
of
together.
That. Yeah. So like we had totally different way we grew up. We had different expectations of from our life partners or even roommate. So at that point, we were kind of exploring that, each other's habits, because dating is different than living with the person. So when we got married and started living together is when we realized that what are the things that kind of triggers you, or what are the things that triggers me or makes me angry or upset, or what are the things I don't care about. And so that phase was kind of, I would say, turbulence on our flight.
Are there examples that we can share? I felt the dishwashing part was very hard.
Yeah. I know. Well, there are endless examples we can share.
Yeah.
So I was more laid back on, when to do dishwashing, or because I didn't have to do it before.
Yeah.
So when I have to, I'm happy to do it, but I want to do it on my own timing.
Yeah.
But for you was like, why is it happening so late and all? And then I was like, why I have to do it at this certain time.
Right. And what did you not like about my habit? I think putting spoons on the countertop.
I don't even remember, actually.
I'm just so perfect in your eyes.
Not that year.
Because I can think so much about the house chores part.
Yeah.
That I was struggling, because it's like, for me, every weekend I need to clean the house, but it's not the same habit for you. And where to put things and all that. But like for you, did you find me very nagging?
Absolutely.
Yes. Be honest. We're honest here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was really hard. Was social life hard for you? Because it was definitely hard for me.
Maybe not as much about social life, but I was going to, share another challenge that we faced.
Sure.
And this is not necessarily about any couple would face, but this is more about the cross-culture thing, that because I was living in your country.
Yeah.
And, the first language people speak there is your language.
Yeah, Mandarin.
And even though I'm a man and, in the house, but you had to actually communicate with everybody. Yeah, so you had to talk to the landlord, you had to talk to the manager of the building, you had to talk to, even if we are going to do grocery. So I could go, but then, I could buy grocery and stuff, I guess, maybe not that, but if we had any issue with the electrician or calling a technician, so you have to contact every single person, because most of those people did not really speak English or were not comfortable in English. So all the pressure, goes to the partner who speaks the language in the country. Yeah. So I guess that was one of the challenge. You felt more pressure living in your own country, because you have to deal with a lot of things, which I could not handle. And I guess that is something that a lot of cross-culture couples could face if they're living in a country where one of the couple's language is not spoken. The pressure could be on the other person, even if it's their own country.
Did you feel the same thing when we were in India that you had to, communicate everything? And basically, I'm just mute because like my Hindi is just survival skills, but the real conversation with people in your family, that you are always the person to go for.
We didn't really have to live in India
not
as a couple.
That's
like
right.
like residing in India after getting married. So I don't think we have actually experienced that challenge from the other side. But I guess I had to just, make you aware of certain norms and things. Like, this place is not safe, or you can't, just be so, careless about your own safety while doing certain things or going to a certain place. So those were the things we had to just make you aware of. But yeah, I don't think we experienced the other thing.
Yeah. And after 1 year of Shinju, is there anything else you would like to add for that year before we jump into the US phase?
I think, we were blessed to have our church friends there in Shinju. That was a great support that we could go to. We could meet actually every week to the fellowship people and discuss different things, pray for each other, and even go to some annual events and have fun. So that was, I guess, a comforting part living in Shinju.
And then in 2017 summer, I got admission to the University of Denver, and then we just decided to move. So in August 2017, we moved to Denver. And yeah, that was a coastal ride because I have been preparing to do my PhD for a long time since I was a teenager. I know that at some point in my life that I'm gonna do a PhD, but I think teaching in India just kind of helped me to have that motivation because I see the need, but I couldn't do anything as a non-resident faculty, or like I can never get into the system because I'm adjunct instructor. So I can only teach languages, and that was it. So, well, we went to the US because I'm a US citizen, so we applied for your residency, and then that took a long time. So we do understand the immigrant difficulties or challenges, like of waiting for the work permit and the permanent residency.
That's right. That is another challenge that the cross-cultural couples could face. Like if you are even living in one of your partner's country, then you do have to get the either the visa or the immigration status for the spouse, and it does include some paperwork. You need to show your documents even from your past. You need to show that your marriage is legal and is authentic. It's not fake. And so, yeah, if getting into a cross-cultural marriage, or even if you're planning for that, even from your dating time, you might want to start looking into the process, because some of the documents, might help. Even the pictures or stuff might help when you are in need of or in the process of applying for that immigration status or a green card or a residency.
Yeah.
And so I guess there was one thing that was helpful in our case, by God's grace, that you were already a resident here, so you could sponsor me to get a living permit here or a residency here in the U.S. But I have seen people here in the U.S. where the sponsoring partner is on a green card itself, and then they're trying to get their spouse in the country. So it is not as easy to live all together a third country. If neither of the couple is from that country, then the process becomes a little more difficult. But yeah, it could depend. It could be different in different countries. In the U.S. is definitely difficult. In other countries, it might be easier or not so much. I do know that some friends in Taiwan, they also work there and they bring their spouses to Taiwan. So I've never chatted with them how easy or difficult was the process there.
Yeah, I don't think it's easy in any country, but of course, like the U.S. is kind of like an immigrant country that so many people want to get in, so of course that selection process will be longer or tougher. And so we came to Denver, and I started my program, which is so stressful, so much reading, and I was never educated in English, so that reading was just so much, and then the whole pressure of doing assignments and learning a new subject, because in my past I was focusing on language and teaching a language, but I transferred into educational leadership, so it's more like a bigger system, school system and leadership role, and some policy studies as well. So everything's new. On top of that, the U.S. system and Taiwanese system is so different in schooling, and then I've never studied in the U.S., so a lot of examples in class I couldn't relate to, and a lot of homework that I have to do on my own to kind of to catch up with the common sense that domestic students have. And on top of that, you waited for a whole year to get your work permit, so you couldn't work, and every day just like, oh, you stayed at home. And I think that was frustrating for me, because it's like I was also working and studying, and then house chores. You couldn't drive. I think that was very difficult. You couldn't drive. So the first year I felt all the burdens was on me, and that was also when I realized that, okay, my mental stress has been off the chart. We need to do something about it. And then I think that's when I invite you to the couples therapy on campus.
That's right.
Yeah, because I was like, I can't do this alone. If I need to manage my marriage, I need to learn how to do that, because there's no way I can do that. And then in order not to get a divorce, so we probably need to do something about it to make our relationship better. Because I just remember so many fights. I was so irritated and annoyed about everything. And sometimes it's not about you, but then I just vented on you. Yeah. So how did you feel that year?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. That year was, everything was different for us. I mean, the marriage itself, learning to know each other or to live with each other was new. Plus, new country, which none of us was from here. So we're learning the new norms. Plus, you're struggling with all your studies and all the other stuff. And I am learning the new thing of being unemployed. Yeah. I shouldn't have, I couldn't work. People did, suggest me to work illegally, which doesn't fit in my brain. So I didn't want to do illegal stuff. So I choose not to work till the time I get the work permit. But then, so initially it was not that bad, because I thought, okay, I was thinking I'll get it in around 6 months, because I prepared all the documents pretty well. Yeah. And I did not go for a lawyer, because we didn't want to waste money on that. And I thought it's not as complicated. I can do it myself. So I did all the paperwork myself. So I guess the first few months, my plan was that, okay, first few months when I'm unemployed, I'm going to work on my immigration documentations. Just the time will be spent in that, so I won't feel bad, because I'm at least saving money for the lawyer. And then the next few months plan was, okay, I'm gonna do some studies myself at home and take a certification for PHR at that point of time for the human resource management. But I guess I lost the motivation. I didn't really study much for the certification of PHR. I still did invest some time in, building network on LinkedIn or doing some more research, how to get into work. I even picked up a new hobby of woodworking. But I guess coming back to the challenging part of it was that, we were still learning how to live a married life.
And communicate
with each other. We didn't know what, we actually expect. Sometimes I would feel, okay, I've already, done the cleaning, or I'm gonna do it at night because I'm tired right now. For you, or it could be like, maybe you felt that he does not want to do it, and for me it was like, I'm gonna just do it at this certain time. Or maybe you felt that he is not doing at all anything at home, and I was like, okay, I'm working on this thing and that thing. So I guess we were not communicating enough, and that was a bad way of living, and plus all the stress that we were going through individually. And also that, I was not, to be honest, very helpful in the house chores and all. Even though I was not working, I did not know how to do a lot of things, right? I mean, I knew how to do it, but I was not used to do it on a daily basis. So I had to learn all that. And I mean, I was totally up with the idea that, I have to support. This is not just, you doing everything, and I'm your partner, I want a partner. But it wasn't natural to me. So there was a lag all the time. And then, that also caused stress to you at that point of time and to us in the marriage. And then that's when we decided to go for counseling. Sorry, I'm talking continually, but I think
that's all right. Yeah.
I think it's important to share that in cross-culture marriage or any marriage, you would need help to learn.
Seriously, we never take any classes in school to learn about communication or marriage, how to handle conflicts in a relationship.
Exactly. And, I would say to any cross-culture couple listening to us right now that do not hesitate or do not be ashamed of asking for help. You can start with, just searching yourself on the internet. There are a lot of resources available. We approached to people we knew at church or elders or mentors who have already gone through these things. So I think there are two important things. First, don't be ashamed of asking for help. And second, take the help from the right people. Don't just take, advices from people, just your friends who have no clue about what marriage is or what cross-culture marriage is. Or even sometimes, it's not really healthy to take help from your immediate family.
Oh, yeah.
Because, when you're going through struggle in marriage and you share those dark sides or negative sides of your partner with your own parents or your family, then, in future, you both as a couple might resolve those issues, or you might know or understand or realize that, okay, I misunderstood her or him. But once you have shared something negative about your spouse to your family, they would have that expression or impression of perception for that person, for your partner, for the rest of their life. And you don't want to create that image. And then even if you were seeking help for marital related counseling from your immediate family, they would always have a bias for you. So you don't want to, get that as well. So it's not really healthy to go to the immediate families.
I do have an example. I think that's the mistake I made. We were living with my brother in the second year of, after we moved here. And I mean, we love each other so much. And I share and I complain about Louis to my brother. And then he formed that kind of bias, just like what you said. And then, so he was feeling bitter towards you. And I felt like that's on my part because, I didn't know how to draw that boundary of not sharing everything or the negative things with him because he doesn't know how to judge, what to think or what to say. I also share some of the things with my mom, but I think later, after 1 year, she decided she's going to draw that boundary. So she's not going to put that label on you from whatever I say. Because she also knows, sometimes, when I tell the story, it's only my part of the story. But you will have a completely different story to tell. So it's not fair to only listen to her daughter. So that's the thing. And then I felt like, because I didn't know the boundary. So I think my brother had some conflicts with you, thinking that you were not cherishing me. So I think everyone meant well. We want to have a good relationship. We want to handle things well and resolve conflicts. But then we also kind of want to protect who we love. Then that miscommunication or misunderstanding kind of occurred. So I'm just putting out my example here. And then I felt like, we hit rock bottom the first 2 years when we were here. I was so emotionally, mental health wise, I was not well. I was always talking about divorce. How did that feel to you?
I guess to me, the thought of separation did not really come to me. I didn't think that was an option. First of all, I didn't think that the marriage was that bad. For me, I was like, okay, we just had a fight. Okay, I just did this wrong, or you did that wrong. We can, come over this.
Jeez.
But it was never like I never thought it's serious as bad that I would think about separation. No,
Okay.
not at all. But then I knew that you are thinking about that and you're really so stressed about it. So I wanted to help. That's why we reached out for help. And I think, one smart thing or another smart thing you did was that even when we were dating, you made me promise that, before getting married, that whenever in our marriage, even if one of us feel that we need to go for counseling, then we should go for counseling.
Yeah.
So I promised you, while we were dating, that okay, if anyone of us feel we should go for marriage counseling, then we would go. So I just honored that promise when we actually needed it, because I personally did not feel we needed, but you were really sure we needed. So just to fulfill that promise, I stepped in and joined that counseling session.
Yeah.
Which did help. We got good advice from the professionals and different part of life or different issues, how to deal with it.
Before we jump into the therapy part, I just want to ask something. Like, some people would ask me, is it that bad that you really want to get divorced, and why didn't you get divorced and all that? It's like, I think for you, it's like, I don't know, maybe your comfort level is pretty good. So it's like you're feeling there's nothing that much different, it's just a fight. But for me, it's like I accumulate a lot of emotions, and also I learned through counseling that I didn't know how to process my emotions. So I just kind of layered it up, and all the way that sadness, disappointment, frustration became bitterness. So for me, it's not about divorce, it's about ending the struggle. And then divorce was the only way I can think of, because I'm not gonna kill myself. So I'm like, okay, if I want to end this drama, I think the only way is to get a divorce. But was I really, when I was like insane, so sure, that's what I say. But when I'm sane, I know that I want to keep trying. I don't feel great when I am failing in my marriage, and then I could not find a solution. So then that was like, I always look for help, look for information. Like, maybe, okay, couples therapy, let's try that. Like, this is our last resort, and then we can try that thing. So it's like, is it that bad for my emotional state? Yes, it was so bad. And then at that time, I didn't have any friends to talk about. Like, most of my best friends are not married. They still are not married. And then I couldn't talk to my family because I don't want them to feel negatively about Louis, and it's just I feel like it's also not being heard for my part, because I talk a lot. Like, I want to feel listened. I want to share my frustration, but there was just no one that is close enough. And also in the same time zone, that was so difficult, because like every time I have to schedule a call with my best friends. So then all the resources were in Taiwan, or maybe in India, like the close friends. So it is a little challenging for me to navigate with the whole situation. And and then how we landed in therapy outside of our campus, because our campus only offered 10 times for an academic year for that price, and then later it will become more expensive. Then my doctor, when we're talking about my health, and then she's like, I think you're stressed. So then it's like, you probably should go for therapy. And then so that's how I got referred. And also I got Medicaid. So that's a free insurance for low income students and also like citizens. So I had the privilege to use that Medicaid insurance to go through couples therapy. So I actually went through a personal, like individual therapy, and then they refer me to couples therapy in the halfway. So what was so like, I know that you already went through the one that at DU. So did you change your perspective about what therapy was?
Not really, I guess. Maybe not much. But I was just open to try for help, because I knew that we did need help, and I didn't know how. But I was okay, because I knew that, if you are confident in this thing, then, you're smart. So there would be reasons why you want to do it. So I would give it a try. And and when we met, one of our counselors, and the session went pretty well, what she made us realize was to understand each other more in a way that, rather than talking about, why we're fighting and what we're fighting for, talking about, what is causing us to be stressed? What are the things we are perceiving differently? How can we, understand each other better? So those things did work and help. So that's why I continued to it. And just taking a step back again, talking about, I really like the way you said that accumulating the stress is what causes us to feel like, getting separation or just end the struggle. And that's a very good point. I would say that it doesn't happen overnight. I don't think any couple will just wake up one day and decide to just separate, and unless something really bad happened.
Yeah.
But I guess it's over the time thing. It builds we as a couple, we build wall between each other.
Yes.
Brick by brick.
Yeah.
And so it's important to like kick off that brick each time we put a brick of fight or struggle between us. We kick it off. We resolve that before it becomes a big wall. So it's important to resolve your conflicts as you face them.
And I just want to put it right here. It's like we're also Christians, or we're a Christian, devoted Christian couple, but then we even encounter so many problems and challenges in our life. So it's not like we don't believe what we believe. Like, we still pray to God, and we know that God is going to help us. And even through this day, I don't think if without God's mercy, we can still stay married. But God also uses like medical professionals, counseling professionals to help us. And if we do believe there is a way in our marriage, there is always a way. Because like God's not going to give up on our marriage, and there are resources or helps that we can get along the way too.
Yeah, that is right. There's always a help. Marriage is difficult, but it is beautiful. That's what we heard before getting into it. And I truly believe it. It is beautiful. And yes, it is challenging. So it's important that we keep putting efforts to make it smooth, to make it beautiful, and to enjoy each other. It might not be the same case for everyone. Not everybody face the same struggle or same level of struggle or stress. But if anybody does feel any stress or struggle in a cross-culture marriage, or even in just a relationship, it is normal, and it is good to seek for help, and if possible, for professional help.
Yeah. One of the examples I feel is very helpful for other people to understand what we do in counseling. So I have been very upset with the garage situation, right? You used up the whole garage, and then you pile things in there. For me, I felt it was messy. But for you, it's like, it's my cave, right? And then so in therapy, we talk about it. And then so our therapist was very professional. She kept asking me how I felt about the situation. Why do you feel so annoyed and all that? I couldn't answer the question. I feel like we were never trained or educated or aware about our emotions and feelings. So then after she tackled so many times with the same question, and I'm like, all right, the garage is messy. It makes me feel ashamed. Because when I have friends and people coming into the garage, I have to take them with my car. I show them the ugliest, the messiest spot of my home. I feel very ashamed because when I was growing up, we never showed this part to other people. And so I think even that, at that point, I understood so much about myself as well. I don't know how much you understood my perspective. Then I realized that it is from my childhood. Like, we never showed the dirty socks to other people. We would try to put it and then present it, prepare a good place for people to see. And then that builds up my values. So, is there anything you want to add? That you have epiphany during therapy?
I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah. So I felt like myself, I understand so much more about learning about myself. And also it helps our marriage in that way. almost about it. Before we end, is there anything else you would like to say? Any big lessons or how marriage has taught you?
Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit more that we just touched earlier, that you felt that you want to get out of this relationship or end the relationship, and for me it was like it's a fight, and I don't think I feel like getting separated or anything of that sort. It really hurt or felt bad.
Yeah,
I was sad or whatever, but not to the point. So I think that reminds me of something that Pastor Phil from the ICF, in one of his messages, he shared about hitting the wall. So I'm taking it out of context, but I'm taking that example of hitting the wall. So the hitting the wall means like, you are, just take an example, you're running a race and you're running fast and, you have energy and everything. But there's a point where you just cannot take any single step more. You just hit your wall, and after that you would probably fall on the ground. So hitting the wall is like when you're done basically. So I guess talking out of that context, but using that as an example in a marriage or in a relationship, I would say that we have, as a couple, we have different stamina for stress.
Yeah.
And it's normal for one partner to feel like terribly upset or negative about a relationship to the point of ending the relationship. At the same time, the other person not feeling the same level of distress or level of discomfort from the marriage. And I believe personally that it's basically that we have different level of stamina mentally, like for physically, some person can run 100 meters, some can 2. I can't run a single meter. But I guess that stamina matters. So we should be open, and we should respect other person's strength mentally as well. Like in case if one of our partner feels that I'm done with it, then rather than just blaming the partner that how dare do you feel that our relationship is not working, it's working fine, or why don't you put enough efforts or things like that. I guess the partner who's not feeling as bad should give it a thought, and should trust the other partner that if the partner is feeling so bad, then maybe they are hitting their wall, maybe they have reached the level of the stress beyond which their mental stamina doesn't allow them to take any more stress. So maybe that's the point to stop and to help your partner to gain some stamina or just gain some strength. And you gotta communicate or take that help from somebody.
Yeah.
So it's important to acknowledge and respect each other's level of stress.
I agree, because I think everyone feels differently. Like for when I'm feeling stressed and I'm articulating saying that, hey, I'm stressed. But if someone just say that they have no empathy, saying, oh, why are you stressed? So but then I'm not lying about my feelings, right? And then the other person, if they don't understand how I'm feeling, at least we shouldn't negate how the other person is feeling, because what we're feeling is the fact. I feel this way, you might not feel this way, but also in marriage, it's a partnership. So if I feel this way, Louis doesn't, I need to respect that he doesn't, but he needs to understand right now I'm feeling this way. So it's also interesting how marriage has trained me to be more flexible and reflective, and also, I guess, to be a little, I wouldn't say I'm so humble, but it definitely taught me that I cannot achieve everything, and I have no control about almost everything. It's just like, I cannot control how you think, or how I feel, or how to handle the whole marriage situation. But then, I think the biggest lesson from that is that I can always ask for help. But also it's like, you know, when we want to save face, we're from Asian culture. It's like, I want to save my face. I don't want to talk about my struggles and all that. So I just want to hide away. But then it's not helping my situation at all. So I eventually need to come out and say, hey, I need help. I need to learn this. I need to relearn something. Or I need to face the fact that this is our marriage. This is not our parents' marriage or values. So we need to create our new culture as well. Yeah. So I guess we covered most of the things we want to cover. And I know that some people will ask us questions. So feel free to, you know, leave messages to us or email us at shywithping@gmail.com. And we would love to, we would love to pray for you, encourage you, and also listen to your situation. Because I did get messages from people when they're having cross-cultural relationships, especially Taiwanese and Indians. So, not saying that we have the answer, but we would like to support. Yes, Louis, you have something to say?
Thank you for inviting me on your podcast, and I'm glad I could, join you on this episode today. And I would just end on a note that, marriage is a journey, relationship is a journey. You will have your highs and you will have your lows. And for us as well, we still fight, we still love each other. We like each other more. Some days we don't like each other enough other days, but I guess we at least I could say for myself, even when I don't like you, I still love you. And that's a choice. I guess it is like a plant that, a relationship is like a plant that we both seeded together. And just like a plant needs water every day or every week, and it needs sunshine, sunlight, similarly the relationship needs that too. So we gotta keep pouring the water or nourishment that it needs. We need to keep putting it out in the sun. So we need to put efforts, and we also need to have fun. And we do need to have fights as well, because that's how we got to communicate better. Happy anniversary.
It has been difficult and also some joyful moments, but I do hope our episode and our sharing will be encouragement to other people, because I do know marriage is not easy, and then there will be people listening to this episode. I really pray that you'll be encouraged and blessed. And I know that some people are going into marriage, some people are already married, and some people are in different seasons. So feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great one.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Chai with Ping. If you think someone will benefit from this episode, don't forget to share it with them. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you like my show, you can buy me some chai with small donations. Details are in the episode notes. Till next time.
You had to speak with the manager.
We can keep going, but we just need to turn it off. I think it's gonna take some time to stop. Interesting.
Really?
I don't know. Well, I mean, there is a plug. Oh, okay. Great.
Where was that?
So I was talking to landlord.
Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to say about, when we were talking one thing I wanted to say that, we were talking like that. You laugh first.
You clap when you're ready.
So one thing I wanted to say, that it's about